1% of
Morning,
migrants
Tom.
who arrived on small boats since 2020 have been deported. Many people will find this absolutely astonishing. What's your reaction?
I'm not astonished at all. It's something that I expected. Look, the problem has been that the government has made all sorts of promises, has focused on doing one thing at a time rather than multitasking, doing things in a comprehensive and integrated manner. And so when they've said that they're going to do X, Y, or Z, they haven't actually developed a plan or identified the resources for actually enacting what they have said that they are going to do. And so, for example, we have no permanent representation dealing with this particular problem in countries like Albania and the other places that we have got some sort of agreement with. So the back home in the UK, we don't have the dedicated resources allocated to the task of returns. So, not only have you got the legal problem, but the Home Office and the government simply haven't put in place the structures and the resources to do these things. It beggars belief. It is incompetence of the highest order. I just don't understand it.
The government would argue, Henry, that there actually is a plan in place in regard to Rwanda, but one place where we're constantly told there's a plan in place is Albania. They're easier to remove to the country as it is deemed safe in UK law. We're told the numbers coming from Albania are going down. But even of those who have arrived since 2020, only 5% of those Albanians have been removed. 95% of them have not been removed. Now, we've got to remember, of course, that some people who do come across the channel go through the asylum process. In fact, the majority of them are given asylum status by the system. It takes a long time, takes far too long. But in terms of those who come across, only 5% of them are actually removed because there will be bogus asylum seekers. There's no doubt about that. Henry, what do you think of that?
Indeed. Well, the problem is that if you don't have the organisation to do what your plan says you want to do, or then it simply isn't going to work. All plans have to be properly resourced. And there simply isn't the resourcing in place. Look, going way back, to Theresa May's time when she was Home Secretary under David Cameron, the police were slashed by 21,000. We know that. We see that the recruitment drive to replace them. But what about the cut in the resources that were allocated to dealing with asylum, with immigration, and so on? They were slashed as well. That wasn't so much in the public eye. And indeed, to be fair, at that time, there wasn't the same demand placed upon them. So there was the opportunity to cut back. But now, with the increased demand, you have to increase the resources. But not only are the resources not in place, they're not properly trained, they're not properly schooled.
Henry, we're spending a huge amount on this, and one place where we're spending a huge amount is the Bibby Stockholm, which has fewer than 40 people on it. It's costing them £90 per night per person to be on the Bibby Stockholm. We saw the tragic news the other day that someone lost their life. Lots of reports that is through suicide. The Bibby Stockholm can take up to 504 people. They're not being used there. It's costing an absolute fortune. It doesn't appear to be working. And we have a situation where someone, we don't know all the reasons behind it, and I wouldn't want to preempt that, but we have someone who decided to take their own life. This is horrendous, and it's not working either. It just seems that all of the things which Keir Starmer calls gimmicks, like Rwanda, like the plan there, like the Bibby Stockholm, they're just not working. What would work, Henry?
Well, all of these things, you're absolutely right. They're all gimmicks. They're all done as one-off responses to particular specific problems or criticism. They're not part of a coherent strategy or plan. Each one is planned, but badly executed. So, I mean, let's just as an example of what we are capable of doing, I was in Helmand for 27 months, back 2010 to 2013. The British military went into a part of the desert of northern Helmand, hostile environment, and built a city. And they did that in months. We are perfectly capable, if we identify the right resources and task the right assets, to do these things. Look at the Nightingale hospitals, for another example. So we are capable of doing this. But what really needs to happen is we've got to develop, like most countries have done, We have not, and indeed the government has told me in the past that they don't want to do this, is put together a properly, use that phrase, cross-government, comprehensive and integrated strategy, identifying clear objectives, strategic national objectives for what we want to achieve, and then identifying who's going to do what. Now, how is that done? You do it through the establishment of a national working group, not tasked to work under the Home Office, because it's got to bring together various ministries, various government departments, various agencies. And if you put it in one ministry, one government department, then it simply doesn't have the authority to pull it all together.
You've got two ministers now, Henry. Surely that'll solve the problem. We've got an illegal and illegal migration minister. Surely that is going to be the panacea that's going to make sure that this all works wonderfully.
No, it's really not. They are subordinate. They're junior ministers in one government department. And, you know, we've got to bring together intelligence. We've got to bring together the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. We've got to bring together all sorts of assets across the board. And, you know, another example, Peter, and you know, this is what drives me to distraction. We are doing one thing at a time, and we're looking at one problem. Immigration, I agree, but part of the resourcing that the organised crime groups can draw on is the fact that they're also getting funding from cocaine, heroin and firearms trafficking. So we have got to do this in a far more comprehensive and integrated manner. Why the government doesn't want to do it, I don't know. Albania has a national strategy for this. The Republic of Northern Macedonia has a strategy for this. The Republic of Tajikistan has a strategy for this. Bulgaria, Romania, the Scandinavian countries, you know, but we do not.
Okay.
And you know, so you know, the problem here is that we have got no plan. And if you want a solution, the solution comes with a comprehensive approach and proper strategic planning. We know we're capable of this. Look, we put together a plan.
We'll get the views of our panel. We'll get the views of our panel on that, Henry.